This is my life. Rotten and stinking. Like something you forgot in the trash and only smelled when it was too late. What do you mean it is not treatable? Dean's voice cracked. He was squeezing a stack of lab results so hard the paper bent and crinkled in his hands. The man lived at the gym, all perfect arms and camera angles, but his knuckles were white now against the sterile printout. Sir, I need you to remain calm, Nurse Lawrence said, shifting on her feet. We will need to contact your recent partners immediately. 3 men sat in the Stark Hospital waiting room, clutching identical manila envelopes. Dean, the trainer, was trembling despite all that muscle. Marcus, the flashy real estate guy with the designer watch that used to catch the light on purpose, kept staring at the floor. Jason, the crypto cowboy who always wore a smirk like he knew tomorrow's price, had lost that expression completely. Down the hallway, I stood motionless in a faded janitor's uniform, a mop bucket at my side and a small, quiet smile on my face. My name is Noah Bennett. I was the man they did not see while they were busy wrecking my marriage. I watched them panic like animals in a cage. But this story does not start with revenge. It starts with trust. 6 months earlier, I wiped sweat from my forehead and heaved another bag into the back of the city truck. I am 35. I have worked sanitation for 8 years. People wrinkle their noses when they hear it, but the work is honest. The pay hits the bank every Friday, and the route gives me time to think with the windows down. What I minded was coming home to a house that felt like a museum, quiet, cold, and full of things that were supposed to impress strangers. Samantha was on the couch when I walked in, the glow from her phone lighting her face. She did not look up when I toed off my steel toes by the mat. How was your day? I asked, easing down beside her. Fine. Her thumb never stopped scrolling. Brianna King got another brand deal. Some skincare thing. Brianna was her biggest rival in the influencer world. Everything was a scoreboard. If Brianna breathed, it was personal. That is nice, honey, I said. No, it is not nice, Noah. It should have been me. She finally looked up. Her green eyes were cool. But I guess a husband who empties trash cans does not scream luxury lifestyle brand. That old sting hit the same spot, but I kept my tone level. I thought you liked authenticity. Is that not what you tell your followers? She laughed once, no humor in it. Authenticity does not pay for this condo, Noah, or my car, or anything else. What she did not know, what nobody knew, was that I had been mining cryptocurrency since 2016, back when Bitcoin sat under $1,000 and everyone said it was pretend money. The hobby turned into rigs, the rigs turned into wallets, and the wallets turned into a number that made me double-check the screen every time. A little over $4 million spread across cold storage. I had never told her. Something about the way she talked about my real job told me she would not understand the quiet kind of wealth. I am going to shower, I said. Brandon is having a party Saturday night, she added, eyes back on the screen. Some fitness influencer thing. You do not have to come. I paused at the bathroom door. Why would I not come? She waved her hand. It is not really your scene. Brandon Cole is our gym trainer, a living advert for protein powder and loud music. I never liked him. Samantha insisted we had to network. I would like to be there, I said. Fine, whatever. The party was exactly what I expected, and somehow worse. Brandon's place was wall-to-wall with fitness influencers, crypto guys, and real estate hustlers, all one-upping each other with stories and watches. I stood in a corner and nursed a beer that tasted like aluminum and judgment. Samantha worked the room like she was running for office, laughed just loud enough, hand on an arm, perfect angles for every story. Noah. Jason slid up with his usual swagger. We went to high school together. He was the one who shoved a laptop at me years ago and said, "You should look into this crypto thing." How is the digital portfolio? He asked. Cannot complain, I said. He figured I had maybe 50 grand in coins. He had no idea. Good man. Hey, you see Brandon's new setup? Guy turned a bedroom into a streaming studio. I followed his gaze. Brandon was putting on a show with a resistance band while a circle of admirers nodded like he had found fire. Samantha stood at the front, smiling at every word. Impressive, I said, and even I could hear the flat edge in my voice. You okay? Jason asked. You seem off tonight. Before I answered, Marcus appeared with a grin that belonged on a billboard. What is up, boys? Jason, that investment property I mentioned? Cash only, no paper trail, returns are wild. Marcus had been selling opportunities for months. I had learned to let his words drift past like elevator music. I am good, I said. You're lost, man, he said, shaking his head. Some people are too risk-averse to build real wealth. I almost laughed. If only he knew. The music kept thumping. People kept performing. I watched instead. The way Samantha's hand rested on Brandon's forearm too long. The quick look Jason and Marcus shared when they whispered about weekend plans. The conversations that started buzzing when I was far away and went silent when I drifted close. Little things. But little things tell the truth. Around midnight, I found Samantha in the kitchen pouring more wine into an already full glass. Ready to go? I asked. Actually, I am staying to help clean up, she said. Brandon has been so generous hosting these events. I can help too, I said, looking around. The counters gleamed. The sink was empty. The floor looked like it had been vacuumed during the party. No, she said, cheeks coloring. You have work in the morning. What exactly needs cleaning? She set the bottle down a little too hard. Noah, please do not make this weird. Make what weird? This jealousy thing, she whispered. It is embarrassing. I stared at the spotless kitchen, the hum in the next room, the door that led to a hallway I had not walked down tonight. I did not raise my voice. I did not make a scene. I just felt something in me settle, like a level finding center. Okay, I said softly. I will see you at home. I left with the taste of warm beer in my mouth and the feeling that a gear had finally clicked into place. I stared at my wife of 7 years. I am not jealous, Samantha, I said. I am confused. Confused about what? About why my wife wants to stay at another man's apartment until who knows when to clean a kitchen that is already clean. The room around us went a shade quieter. You can always tell when people are listening. Cups paused. Laughter dipped. I could feel eyes pressing on my back. Fine, Samantha hissed. I will come home, but you are being ridiculous. The drive back was silent. The only sounds were the tires humming and the turn signal ticking. My mind ran hot, but my hands stayed steady on the wheel. In the passenger seat, Samantha stared out the window, arms locked across her chest like a barrier I could not cross. I am sorry, I said finally. She turned, surprised. Really? I trust you. I worry sometimes that I am not good enough for you. Her expression softened like a switch had flipped. Noah, you are fine. You are just different from my friends. Different how? You are quiet. They are more dynamic. Dynamic, I repeated, rolling the word around. I filed it away like a label on a shelf. I understand. I will try to be more dynamic. She smiled and reached over to squeeze my hand. I love you. You know that. I love you too, I said. But as we pulled into the driveway, a plan began to form. Trust, yes, but verify. An old instructor once drilled that into me when I wore a uniform and carried a rucksack. It had kept me safe then. Maybe it would keep my life from burning down now. The next morning, I ordered a small recording device online. Nothing dramatic. Just a voice-activated unit the size of a pack of gum, easy to hide, long battery. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was letting insecurity run the show. But paranoia, I had learned in the service, is just another word for preparation. 2 days later, the package hit the porch. I tested it on my lunch break, tucked on the dash of my truck. The audio came through clear and sharp, like the voices were sitting beside me. That evening, while Samantha showered and sang along to a song about perfect lives, I slid the recorder behind our bedroom dresser and pushed it back with a hanger until it disappeared. 3 days went by with nothing but regular life. Schedules, groceries, a joke about a dog video. I started to feel foolish. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was building ghosts out of dust. On the 4th day, Samantha announced she was going to Brandon's gym for a content planning session. I will probably be late, she said, kissing my cheek on the way out. Do not wait up. I nodded and watched her taillights fade down the street. Then I sat down at the kitchen table and waited. I cleaned a counter that did not need cleaning. I stared at an old photo of us by the beach before hashtags and brand deals became oxygen. At 11 o'clock, I heard her car in the driveway. I slid into bed and steadied my breathing as she came in, moved quietly, and slipped under the covers. She smelled like expensive soap and someone else's cologne. The next morning, after she left for a business breakfast, I pulled the dresser forward and retrieved the recorder. I took it to my truck and pressed play. God, I needed this, Samantha's voice breathed. She sounded satisfied. Settled. Me too, a man said. Brandon's voice. No mistaking it. We have to be careful, she whispered. Noah is already suspicious. Suspicious about what? He got weird at your party. Asked why I wanted to stay late. Brandon laughed. What did you tell him? That he was being ridiculous, which he was. She paused, then giggled. Poor Noah. Always there, always silent, like furniture. They both laughed. My hand clenched around the recorder until the plastic creaked. Speaking of furniture, Brandon went on, casual as weather. Jason and Marcus are coming over tomorrow night. That thing we discussed. The wellness party. Yeah? You sure you are up for it? Are you kidding? I have been dying to try something like that. Noah would never. Noah would never what? She said. You know, he is so vanilla. So predictable. I listened to the rest, jaw tight. The wellness party was not about meditation or yoga. It was about bodies. Arrangements. Boundaries moved like furniture. I sat there until the audio clicked off and my heartbeat slowed enough to think. 2 nights later, after another supposed content meeting, Samantha came home late again. The recorder caught her pacing the bedroom and talking on speakerphone. No, he has no idea, she said. He is too trusting. Too. What if he finds out? Jason's voice asked through the tiny speaker. He will not. And even if he did, what would he do? File for divorce. I get half of everything anyway. Still, maybe we should be more careful. Jason, the man empties garbage cans for a living. He is not exactly criminal mastermind material. True. Hey, are you still coming to Marcus's place Thursday? Would not miss it. These boys' nights are the best thing to happen to my marriage. I sat in my truck in the driveway with the recorder in my palm, listening to my wife plan her next betrayal like she was confirming a dentist appointment. Under the hurt, under the heat, something colder began to take shape, a hard edge, a quiet plan. They thought I was weak. They thought I was predictable furniture. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I did not confront her. Not yet. I started to map the field. I bought 2 more recorders and placed them where sound collects, under the couch, behind the hallway plant, inside the laundry cabinet. I set up a simple camera in the garage disguised as a motion sensor. I turned on location history on her phone during a movie night when she curled against me and fell asleep. Patterns emerged. Brandon on Tuesdays. Jason's name tied to late-night calls on Wednesdays. Marcus on Thursdays, always with a message about a meeting or strategy session. Group chats that lit up after midnight. Emoji storms. Screenshots saved and forwarded and deleted and recovered. The betrayal was not random. It was systematic. Brandon, Jason, and Marcus were not just casual shadows. They were a team effort, a coordinated routine to keep me in the dark and keep their story rolling. The texts I pulled down from cloud backups told the rest. They had a nickname for me. They call me the Ghost. Because in my own house, in my own life, I was supposed to be invisible. They thought I was furniture. What they did not know was that I came with hidden compartments. I had advantages they could not see. The military taught me how to watch without being seen, how to build a plan that breathes, and how to wait until the timing is perfect. The crypto stack I never talked about gave me resources they could not imagine. And my boring city job made me invisible. People look through a man in a uniform with a trash hook. That is a gift if you are gathering information. I spent 2 full weeks mapping their lives. Every gym opening and closing time. Every content session that ran late. Every Thursday deal meeting. I put pins on a paper map and notes in a spiral like I was prepping for a field exercise. Patterns stood out fast. Brandon's gym looked loud and shiny on social media, but the books, what I could see from public filings and the landlord's whispered frustration, were bleeding. Jason's crypto chest turned out to be more smoke than fire, leveraged trades, borrowed money, and a big mouth. Marcus's real estate deals were getting creative, contracts in other people's names, cash to consultants, enough gray to make black. All 3 were living beyond their means, posing for cameras and praying the music would not stop. And all 3 were tied up with my wife in little games that got bigger every week. My plan took shape in layers. Step 1. Distance. I found a small 1-bedroom across town with a working lock and no memories. I signed the lease under a quiet limited liability company I had set up years ago for mining equipment, the kind of entity no one ever looks at twice. I started moving out the things that matter to a man: documents, keys, hard drives, cold wallets, a few old photos of my mom, and my grandfather's toolbox. I left the furniture and the big television so the house still looked full. I did not change a habit around Samantha. I kissed her cheek. I took out the trash. I said, have a good shoot. Step 2, help. Tamara Lee used to draw blood in a clinic until one bad night, and a driving under the influence charge took the badge off her scrubs. For the last 6 months, she has been steaming milk at the coffee place near my route, trying to put her life back together. She did not know it was me who settled her court fines. I did not do it for a favor. I did it because someone once extended a hand to me when I was a kid with nothing but a duffel bag. Still, a debt is a bridge, and bridges are useful. I need some medical consultations, I told her during the slow hour, hands wrapped around a paper cup. Nothing illegal. Real screenings. Real tests. What kind of screenings? She asked. The kind that might save some people from making very poor decisions, I said. This is about your wife, is it not? Tamara asked, reading my face. I did not deny it. Are you interested? What would you need from me? Set up a legitimate men's wellness screening, I said. We will use a real mobile lab. Real blood work. Real sexually transmitted disease panels. Cardiac markers. The works. I need the results interpreted in a very specific way. Her eyes tightened. Noah, I am not falsifying medical records. I am not asking you to, I said. I want everything medically accurate. I just want you to emphasize the risk factors and create urgency around follow-up care. Clear, careful language. No lies. She looked at the espresso machine. It hissed like it had an opinion. How much are we talking about? 50,000, I said. Her eyes widened. You are serious. Dead serious. What exactly are you planning? I did not blink. To give them exactly what they have earned. The hook came from Samantha herself, which made it perfect. I want to do something different with my content, she announced over eggs and toast, the phone already recording a time-lapse of our plates. Something that shows I care about more than fitness and beauty. Like what? I asked. Men's health, she said, bright and sure. It is underserved, and Brandon thinks it could be huge for my brand. Of course Brandon thought that. He is always a fan of things that keep him in the shot. It is a great idea, I said. Very authentic. I was thinking we could do a whole campaign. Free screenings. Partnerships with local gyms and businesses. That sounds expensive, I said mildly. I have some savings, she lied. And I am sure we can find sponsors. I let the silence breathe for 3 beats. You know what? I think it is brilliant, I said, like I just decided. I will help fund it. You would? Absolutely. How much to start? Maybe 10,000, she said carefully. How about 25? Her eyes lit up like a stage. Really, Noah? That is amazing. Thank you. I believe in you, I said, and watched a flicker of guilt cross her face before it vanished behind the smile. 2 weeks later, the Men's Wellness Initiative went live. Samantha blasted it across her channels, a forward-thinking advocate for men's health. The comments poured in. Hearts. Flex biceps. Fire emojis. Brandon, Jason, and Marcus signed up first, eager to support Samantha's new cause and snag a free screen while they were at it. This is genius, Jason told me at Brandon's gym, clapping me on the shoulder like we were pals. Your wife is onto something. She has always been smart, I said. You are lucky, man. Samantha is the total package. I know exactly what I have, I said, and kept my face still. We held the screenings at Brandon's place. Perfect optics, easy sign-ups. Tamara showed up in professional attire with a legit mobile lab I hired from Portland. Everything was by the book. Consent forms, vials, gloves. The tests were thorough: blood chemistry, sexually transmitted disease panels, inflammation, and cardiac markers. All the numbers that tell the truth a mirror cannot. They joked during the blood draws like men who had never stared down a consequence in their lives. When do we get the results? Brandon asked, flexing for nobody. Within a week, Tamara said, all business. We will call to schedule individual consultations. Nothing to worry about, right? Marcus laughed. I feel great. That is what we are here to determine, Tamara replied, voice neutral as a scale. I worked the floor in my janitor greens, wiping down benches, coiling cables, and checking outlets. In reality, I was documenting everything: sign-in sheets, timestamps, little remarks that tell a bigger story. The camera in my pocket caught faces and forms. The notes in my phone caught tone. They thought they were supporting Samantha's brand. They were stepping into mine. Phase 1 was done. The lab work came back exactly how I expected, clean across the board. Healthy numbers. No red flags. That is not what they heard. Mr. Cole, Tamara said in a steady, clinical tone when Brandon sat down for his consultation. We need to discuss your results. He swallowed. Is everything okay? I am afraid we found some concerning markers, she said. Your sexually transmitted disease panel shows exposure to a particularly resistant strain of human papillomavirus. It is not immediately dangerous, but it requires prompt treatment and contact tracing. The color drained out of Brandon's face. What does that mean? It means you need to contact every romantic partner you have had in the last 6 months, Tamara said. They all need to be tested right away. This strain can remain asymptomatic for months. That is what makes it serious. He nodded too fast, like agreeing would make the numbers change. Similar conversations followed over the next 2 days. Jason was told he had elevated markers consistent with early-stage chlamydia. Marcus was informed of a bacterial infection that needed immediate antibiotics. They each left with a real prescription, nothing harmful, because a bottle with your name on it reinforces the idea that you are being treated for something real. The important instruction was the same for all 3. Call your partners. Call them now. I went home and waited for the fuse to burn. First came the frantic buzz on our shared laptop. Messages routed through the monitoring software I had installed weeks earlier. Brandon to Samantha, emergency. Need to talk now. What is wrong? She typed back. Cannot text this. Come over. It is about the health screening. Within hours, all 3 men were in crisis mode. They met at Brandon's apartment like a little war council, voices low, fear loud. How is this possible? Jason paced a path in the living room. We were careful. Careful? Marcus let out a bitter laugh. We have been sharing the same woman for months. Keep your voice down, Brandon hissed. The walls are thin. What are we supposed to tell our girlfriends? Our wives? I do not know, one of them said. I really do not know. I listened later to the recording and let their panic run through me like a cold drink. It was not victory. Not yet. But it was the beginning of consequences. Phase 2 needed a lighter touch. No names. Just pressure. From an anonymous account, I sent tips to a handful of local health writers about a potential sexually transmitted disease cluster tied to fitness micro-celebrities. I gave just enough detail to be believable, nothing that could point back to me. The story spread like stories do now. A blog post here about the importance of regular screening. A podcast segment there about the hidden risks of influencer culture. Within days, the ripple hit the shore. Gym members started side-eyeing Brandon's wellness posts and quietly canceling renewals. Parents asked if his gym had a policy about health disclosures. Jason's crypto column filled with comments like, if you are this reckless in life, how careful are you with leverage? Marcus's clients began requesting meetings about lifestyle liability and clauses he had never seen in purchase agreements. Their images had been built like card houses. I had just leaned in and blown. But I was not finished. Phase 3 cut closer to home. I reached out to Brianna King, Samantha's longtime rival, from another anonymous address. I have information about Samantha Reed that might interest you, I wrote. A recent men's health campaign has a backstory. She replied in hours. What kind of information? I sent carefully edited clips, Samantha mocking her followers in private, bragging about manufactured authenticity, outlining tricks to goose engagement. Nothing about the affairs. That would come later, if I needed it. Where did you get this? She asked. From someone who believes in accountability, I wrote. I want nothing in return. Just the truth. Brianna did what Brianna does best. She posted a tight, sharp video essay on authenticity in influencer culture, using Samantha's own anonymous quotes as examples. Within 48 hours, it was everywhere. Duets, stitches, think pieces. Brands hate risk. Contracts that once came easy started quietly disappearing. Her follower count fell like a bad stock. I watched from my quiet apartment, the surveillance feeds from our house up on a second monitor. Samantha spiraled. Calls to her agent, to brand reps, to anyone who might tell her it would blow over. I do not know where this is coming from. She sobbed into one headset mic. Someone is targeting me. Who would do that? I do not know, the agent said. Maybe Brianna. Maybe a competitor. Not once did Samantha say my name. The furniture does not push back. The last phase was the one I built toward from the start. We scheduled a follow-up wellness town hall at Brandon's gym to address community concerns. I wrote the copy for Samantha's social posts, all about transparency and caring for the community. The optics were perfect. Caring influencers owning the narrative, answering tough questions. All three men showed up in their best gym clothes, hoping to rehab their reputations by standing under bright lights and saying the right words. The place was packed. Clients, other influencers, curious locals, and more phones than people. What they did not know was that I had already planted small cameras around the building, over doorways, under eaves, tucked near the sound system. Clean angles, clean audio. "Welcome, everyone," Brandon began, voice a shade too tight. "I know there have been concerns about recent health screenings, and I want to address them directly." "Are the rumors true?" Someone called from the middle row. "Is there an outbreak?" "About the outbreak," someone shouted. "There was no outbreak," Brandon insisted into the mic. His smile shook. "Just a few elevated markers that required precautionary treatment." "What kind of elevated markers?" The voice came from midway up the bleachers. Kelly Ruiz, the health reporter I had tipped. She had a notepad in one hand and her phone recording in the other. "You are asking people to trust you with their health. Do they not deserve specifics?" "That is confidential medical information," Brandon said, sweat starting to bead along his hairline. "We cannot disclose." "But you can sell wellness to the public," Kelly shot back. Transparency cuts both ways. Questions began to pile up. The tone shifted from polite to sharp. Jason tried to pivot. He blamed media sensationalism and rumors. His voice wobbled. Marcus jumped in with a speech about men's health advocacy and community impact, but his hands would not stop fidgeting with the mic cable. I played my ace. From the rafters and corners, small speakers I had placed earlier came alive. A familiar voice filled the gym. Theirs, not mine. Our shared arrangement with Samantha. Poor Noah. Always there, always silent. Like furniture. What if he finds out? He will not. He is too trusting. 2. The man empties garbage cans for a living. He is not exactly criminal mastermind material. The gym froze. No clang of plates. No shuffle of shoes. Just their words echoing back at them while 100 phones held steady and recorded. This is illegal surveillance," Brandon stammered. "Is it?" I stepped out from behind a cable stack, no longer pretending to coil cords. "Everything you are hearing was recorded in my home, with my equipment." A collective inhale rolled through the crowd. Near the entrance, Samantha stood stiff as a statue, eyes locked on me. "Noah, what are you doing here?" "I am here for the Transparency Initiative," I said. "That is what you wanted, honey." The audio kept rolling. More casual cruelty, more mockery, more details than anyone needed. Social media swallowed it in real time. Clips went live before the track finished. Comments poured in like rain. "You did this," Jason snarled at me. "I did what?" I said, voice flat and steady. "I funded health screenings. I supported my wife's career. I trusted my friends." "You sabotaged us," he spat. "I gave you exactly what you asked for," I said. "Transparency." Brandon lunged. "Training is a reflex you do not forget." I shifted to the side, guided his shoulder past me, and let momentum do the work. He smashed into a rack of weights. The clang ricocheted through the gym. Laughter and gasps mixed in the air. "Stay down," I told him quietly. "You are embarrassing yourself." Marcus made for the exit, but the crowd surged, phones up, questions flying. There was nowhere to go. Reputations do not have emergency exits. The aftermath came fast and mean. Brandon's gym shuttered within a week. Memberships vanished. Sponsors ghosted. The clip of him charging me and face-planting into the rack turned into a meme with captions that got crueler by the hour. His fitness leader brand was gone. Jason's crypto column was canceled the same day clients began pulling funds. A few of his top picks got re-examined in public and did not survive. Lawyers started sniffing around words like negligence and misrepresentation. Marcus's real estate license went on ice pending review. The spotlight from the recordings burned hot enough to light up old files. Questionable comps. Inflated credentials. Contracts with holes big enough to fall through. Their social feeds turned into bonfires. Comments. DMs. Duets. The kind of internet storm that does not pass when you put your phone down. But I was not finished with Samantha. Court is slow. Preparation is not. I do not understand. Samantha told her lawyer in a conference room that smelled like lemon wipes and fear. He is a garbage man. How can he afford Eva Darnell? Eva is the most expensive divorce attorney in the city. She took my case after one meeting and a very short look at a balance sheet. MS. Read. Eva said, cool as glass. Your husband has been financially responsible, more than you realize. The folder slid across the table. The number inside it hit Samantha like a body check. A little over $4 million in digital assets. Acquired before our marriage. Stored in separate, documented accounts. Cold wallets. Paper trails. Tax filings to match. He has been hiding money from me, Samantha said. He has been protecting assets that were never marital property, Eva corrected. They predate your marriage and were acquired through his individual investments. But our lifestyle was funded by his generosity, Eva said, not by a shared marital asset. He used separate property to support the household. That does not convert it. The words landed harder than any punch. The discovery phase ended with neat stacks of paper and a simple truth. What you thought you owned was never yours. The car, the condo, the dinners, all gifts, all traceable. I watched Samantha's face go through the stages. Anger, bargaining, blame. She looked at me like I had stolen something, when all I had done was stop giving. The financial reality did not just shift the ground under her feet. It took the floor out entirely. Not only did Samantha receive no share of my crypto stack, she was buried under the debt she had run up chasing a spotlight. The brand checks had dried up. Partnerships were canceled. A few sponsors hinted at legal action for missed deliverables and broken clauses. She told her lawyer, I want alimony. Based on what? Eva Darnell asked, calm as a judge. I was the primary earner, Samantha said. Influencer income. Appearances. Partnerships. Correct, Eva said. Under ordinary circumstances, your husband could have a claim against your higher earnings. His employment as a sanitation worker is steady but modest. But I do not have any earnings now, Samantha snapped. That is not your husband's responsibility, Eva replied. And the assets you are asking about, his digital holdings, predate the marriage and are documented as separate property. He protected them appropriately. Gifts he made to the household do not convert those assets. The final settlement was brutal in its simplicity. Samantha kept her debts and her shattered image. I kept my assets, my steady job, and my peace. No theatrics. Just signatures and a clerk stamping paper. 6 months later, I stood in my new place and looked out at the city lights. The apartment was modern and quiet. Everything inside it was mine. No staged corners, no ring lights, no hidden recorders, and no need to watch my own home like a perimeter. My phone buzzed on the counter. Noah, please. We need to talk. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Unknown number, familiar voice behind the words. I deleted it without answering. Samantha had been reaching out for weeks. There was nothing left to say. Another message slid in a minute later, this one from Brianna King. Dinner tonight. I am cooking. I smiled before I realized I was smiling. Brianna and I had taken it slow. Careful. She knew exactly what happened, how I moved, and why I did it that way. She understood the kind of man I am and never tried to make me into something else. I will bring wine, I texted back. I showered, shaved, and caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror. The man looking back was not the one who used to come home to silence and doubt. This version stood straight. He knew where his lines were. He could be generous. He could also be dangerous when necessary. Not weak. Not predictable. Not furniture. Just the same man I had always been. Only now, people finally saw him. The evening news murmured from the living room while I buttoned a shirt. A local anchor talked about a real estate fraud probe. They cut to footage of Marcus Hale, haggard and hollow-eyed, being let out in cuffs. I clicked the television off. The past could take care of itself. I grabbed my keys and stepped into the hall. The air smelled like rain and hot pavement. For the first time in years, the weight on my chest was gone. No more second-guessing. No more watching rooms like a soldier on patrol. People picture revenge as loud, bloody, and fast. In my experience, the most effective kind is simple, truth. You give people exactly what they earn with their choices, and you let gravity do the rest. Brandon, Jason, and Marcus destroyed themselves. I just provided the stage. Samantha betrayed herself. I held up the mirror. The Real win was not their collapse. It was my release. For the first time in a long time, Noah Bennett was exactly where he belonged.